Because I am seriously not in the mood for this dumb shit.
You can walk, come on. Let's stand up.
The coroner says Moore died from asphyxia.
I've classified Mr. Moore's death as a homicide.
On December 18th, 2022, Springfield, Illinois police responded to a house call. There, police realized that the caller, Earl Moore Jr., was experiencing alcohol withdrawal symptoms and hallucinations.
Okay. He's hallucinating, he's having alcohol withdrawals. I don't want this problem here. I just moved into this house. He's having drunk hallucinations. He called you guys for no reason.
Do you want us to talk to him? Do you think he needs an ambulance?
This video took the EMS and ER world by storm at what not to do at your job. I am a former EMT and a current board-certified physician assistant in the emergency department. I just finished my shift and I received this video, this shocking video. So the cops offered to go inside and evaluate Mr. Moore to determine if an ambulance should come and help, and one of them notices almost immediately that Mr. Moore appeared very sweaty.
48.
Sweating? Yeah, you're sweating up a storm, my man.
I also observed that Mr. Moore was having heavy breathing at times and he had difficulty answering simple questions. He was only oriented to person and place. During the several minutes that the officers are waiting for the ambulance to arrive, Mr. Moore even asks for water and then he collapses off of his bed and lands onto the ground. The two medics arrive about 10 minutes later. The lead for this case appears to be assessing the situation, and quite frankly, I already know what is going on in her mind just by reading her face. She is thinking that it's 2 a.m. and this dirtbag is here wasting my time. I could be sleeping right now, because EMS means earn money while sleeping. If you guys did not know that, now you know. As you notice, this paramedic, you know, she doesn't have any equipment with her. She doesn't even have a stethoscope. She does not put any hands on the actual patient. I get it. Bringing a stretcher into a small, tight home may be difficult. Okay. Responding to the scene of someone who is a frequent drinker that went days without a drink and possibly with altered mental status collapsed onto the ground. And this is how she treats Mr. Moore.
Earl, sit up. Sit up.
Come on, Earl. Let's move,
up.
my man.
No.
What happened, stupid?
Stop. Stop.
Sit up. Sit up now. I am not playing with you tonight. Sit up.
Medic Finley is talking to Mr. Moore in a manner that is honestly subhuman. I mean, people don't even talk to dogs this way.
We're almost there.
Come on, Earl, man. You gotta help us out a little bit. We ain't ever gonna get out of this house.
These are the thoughts of somebody that is not only just burnt out, but like convinced that this guy is full of crap. Sometimes you respond to the same houses over and over again, or you start to know the clientele or people, and you may get a little short-tempered, but you know, this is just completely irresponsible. Even if they arrived to Mr. Moore's house several times before, the guy collapses in the kitchen. This officer here is like, what the is going on? So the police are giving it their best effort to move Mr. Moore, but it's not the officer's responsibility to transport Mr. Moore. Transporting patients is the responsibility of EMS. It's part of the job. Get your patient from point A to the hospital in a safe manner. That is the goal of EMS. EMS have several tools at their disposal. I mean, first of all, yes, you have a bunch of cops, but you could call fire for a lift assist. You could attempt to use a bed sheet even as a mobile stretcher. You can try to use the backboard. You can try to use a stair chair. My first thought would be, hey, let's get the stair chair in here. Let's strap him up. Let's bring him outside. There's also like flexible scooping stretchers. All these sorts of tools are available for this EMS crew to use. And instead, the option they select is having the cops drag Mr. Moore. He sustained cuts and abrasions to his knees. And Mr. Earl Moore gets outside. Dude, if you're trying to get the patient to a stretcher and he's not really standing on his own 2 feet, shouldn't be that difficult to lower the stretcher down. And they can't get him on, and that's when big boy over here forcibly slams Mr. Moore face down onto the cot and restrains him at his chest and legs. And they transported Mr. Moore to the hospital in such a manner that he could not breathe. It almost reminds you of a similar tragedy which occurred. According to the Sangamon County Coroner's Office, Mr. Moore died from compressional and positional asphyxia due to prone face-down restraint on a paramedic transportation cot by tightened straps across the back. And these two EMS workers are charged with murder. At least in the state of Illinois, these actions meet that definition. Now, I am not a legal expert, but I can tell you a thing or two about medicine. If the concern is that this guy is in alcohol withdrawal, en route you should be monitoring Mr. Moore. How can you monitor him if he's face down in a stretcher? You should be taking vitals. I mean, we didn't even see EMS take any vitals. Okay, granted, maybe they want to take vitals first thing once they get into the rig, controlled environment, what have you. A medic may consider hooking Mr. Moore up to a cardiac monitor. They might consider getting an EKG. They might consider getting IV access started so that they can administer benzos if they need it for his alcohol withdrawal. I mean, contemplation, okay, maybe start some fluids. Honestly, they put Mr. Moore onto a stretcher in the oddest of position. You're not trained to put patients onto a stretcher face down. It's just not a thing. In fact, many of us are taught that if you put them face down and strap them in, you can kill them. So according to the coroner, EMS workers' direct actions caused bodily harm to Mr. Moore, and I'm fairly confident that were he placed in a proper position on his stretcher, been another unremarkable ER encounter for the night. What's the most striking is the lack of compassion, total disregard for another person, harm, right? This harmed another individual. Mr. Earl Moore Jr. was a son, a brother, and a grandson. Passed away at age 35. He cannot come back, but he can be remembered.